So, Pedro Valdivia. Who was Pedro Valdivia? There he is on his horse, look. Covered in pigeon poo. But who was he? Well, Pedro. Good old Pedro. He was Francisco Pizarro's number 2. Now before, when we were in Cusco, we talked about Francisco Pizarro, we talked about Cusco, the conquistadors, the Incas, all that stuff. Well, we followed the journey down south to Santiago. Now, when Cusco was overruled by the conquistadors, there was a siege as well, which ultimately failed, and the Inca Empire fell to the conquistadors, the Spanish. Now, what happened then? Francisco Pizarro, he wanted a new city in his name. He founded Lima in around, I think 1535 it was. Well, after the siege of Cusco, which was a couple of years later, Francisco Pizarro's number 2 was in Cusco. Maybe he was twiddling his fingers. Maybe he got jealous of Lima and wanted his own city. Well, he asked for Pizarro's permission. He said, oh, can I go down south and, you know, maybe create a city, or can I do a bit of wandering? I'm a bit bored here in Cusco. Maybe it went something like that. So he, on his little horse, maybe without the pigeon poo, his girlfriend, and around 1,000 indigenous warriors, and not many conquistadors, they went south. They walked for months. They didn't dare take on the Andes. They were big and mighty, full of snow, very cold. But around 5 months later, they went through the desert all the way down south. And he's thinking, well, where do I build a city? What is the best place for a city? Well, how about a valley surrounded by mountains? That way you can see anyone that's coming from a distance. You have good coverage. Seems like the perfect spot, right? So after about 5-6 months of traveling, with all these people, you know, around 1,000 people, they finally stopped in this area right here. Legend has it he spoke to some indigenous leaders after killing quite a lot of other indigenous people and said, I want to build a city here. I want to build a city in the valley, and yeah, I want to be the first governor. A city in my name, just like Pizarro. And 6 years later after Lima was created, 1541, Santiago was born. And here's sunny Santiago, look. In autumn, the start of winter. Check this out, look. So there's the sort of national police, and there's the national policeman's horse, look. Let's see if he's friendly. Hello. Oh. Hello, police horse. Oh, you're friendly, huh? He's doing a good job. He's a nice horse. He reminds me of Pedro. If you saw the earlier video, do you remember Pedro? Pedro was a great horse. He'd be a good police horse. Some snow-capped mountains in the distance there. Some old ruins. Unbelievable. So the cathedral. No pictures, no videos. But we're gonna see if we can have a little peek. Check this out, it's the palace. The palace that houses Chile's president. Maybe that's him, I can't tell because I'm not allowed inside. Look at that, the security, look, on every corner. There's one over there. But the main palace, you can see it uses neoclassical architecture. It's from the 1800s, I think early 1800s. So you can see what we know about neoclassical architecture. Again, symmetrical, kind of reminds you of ancient Rome, ancient Athens. It's pretty much all the government buildings around here. But that's where he sits, El Presidente, making his decisions. And outside is probably the tallest Chilean flag I've ever seen. Check it out. Look at that. It's a big one, isn't it? Shame it's not windy, otherwise it'll be fluttering a bit more. But oh, there we go. Arturo Alessandri Palmer. That's who the statue is. He looks like a thinner Winston Churchill. Look at that. There he is, look. He's making his way downtown. Wow. So that's the palace, look. That's where all the magic happens. All the decisions are made. All the money is laundered. Oh, I'm joking. And there it is, look. Wow. Pretty cool, isn't it? It's fluttering. It did a little flutter just for us. It's alright, isn't it? So, being from the UK, there was one person I'd heard of from Chile, and that was General Pinochet. I think that's how you say it. He was on the news all the time in the early 2000s, and I was a lot younger then. I didn't know much about politics, history. I'm like, who's this Pinochet guy? Why is he in London? Why is he here? Why does everyone keep talking about him? Well, I think from 1973, it's been a long time, until 1990, Chile was under a military dictatorship, much like Myanmar is right now, I think. Are they still? I don't know, it was in the news. Anyway, military dictatorship. They dissolved Congress, the Constitution, kicked everything out, killed lots of people. Dark time for Chile, in my opinion. But there are people that supported him, supported Mr. Pinochet. Anyway, he disappeared in 1990, and I think this guy came in here, look, Patricia. And there's a statue of him, so he must have done a good job. He came in after Pinochet, right. So Pinochet, when he finished in 1990, he came to London for back surgery. I guess he needed a specialist back surgeon to fix his back. But Spain wanted this guy. They're like, you know, you committed crimes against humanity. We want to lock you up, throw away the key, bury you underground. But the UK, they had a decision to make. Do we give Pinochet to Spain? Do we send him back to Chile? I don't know. It was actually voted to hand him over, get rid of him, give him to Spain. But I think it was Jack Straw. He said no, I'm going to overrule your decision. We're going to give him back to Chile. Let Chile decide what happens with Pinochet. So Pinochet went back to Chile. He received a small little ovation from some people. Not everyone, because not a lot of people like him, but some people do. I don't know much about Pinochet. I don't really know why people like him. Can anyone answer that? I have no idea. Seemed like he did a lot of bad things. Maybe he did some great things for the country, brought it out of a certain period of time, but I don't know. It's a mystery to me. But if you know why some people like Pinochet, let me know. But he wasn't given a proper funeral, but he was given a military funeral. But I haven't seen any tributes to Pinochet yet. I will keep looking. But the guy has always been a mystery to me. But anyway, he was never successfully tried, because when they were talking about sending him to courts for his crimes, he had dementia. He had no memories. So how do you convict someone with dementia? It's hard, isn't it? And then he died. So he was never convicted, never stood trial. No punishment was ever given. So it's one of those things, isn't it? But that's all I know about Pinochet. Maybe you know more, but so we're outside the front of the palace now, having a little look around. There's lots of Chilean flags here. 7 here, 7 over there. It's a nice little square. Pretty empty. People are just using it as a shortcut to get to the other side. Maybe I should have done my Pinochet speech here, but maybe the back entrance was better. I'm not sure. But when Pedro, good old Pedro, remember Pedro, 1541 Pedro, or when he founded the city, it was called Santiago del Nuevo Extremo. I think that's right. Shortened to Santiago. It's easier to say. But the name came after James, which was, I think, the first apostle of Jesus. So very religious, the Spanish. At least back then. At least 500 years ago. Very religious. But why James the Great? Well, I think there was 2 apostles called James. And he was the bigger one, or the better one. So he's the bigger James. Big James. James the Great. But yeah, that's where Santiago got its name from. There's a guy next to me playing the violin with his pet duck. Look at that. He was dancing to the music before, but now he's just chilling. Oh, he's wagging now.